What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday to everybody. It is 49er. It's 49ers Vikings week. I'm here back, of course, with Raj from RSF 49ers. We're actually going to talk about actual real football that happened this weekend and a bunch of other fun stuff. Raj was actually at the game, so I want to hear. And if you guys didn't hear it on his live last night, he'll kind of put it back. Let me know because I didn't hear it. Just his experience with going to the home opener and all a bunch of other stuff that we were talking about offline, and that's why we were late. So, how's it going, Raj?
I'm good, man. We got 49er football to talk about, like you said, and it's good, man. Good times. It's so nice um, that we're back, man. It's just great because it's fresh content, new content. Everybody's loving it. I'm so happy to be back. Yeah.
I was talking to Bash and other people that were listening to me. I kind of got into the first game with a little bit of just I had like a weird feeling in my stomach. Like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I could do this, emotionally, even though it's been since February. Got into about the first quarter and a half, and all of a sudden it clicked. And it was like they pulled me right back in. I put it on my Instagram. No matter what I say or whatever, the Niners always have a way of reeling me back in emotionally. And it happened. Started screaming at the refs for taking too long. And I'm like, I'm back. I thought it would never happen after the Super Bowl, but it's one of those things. It's like a really unhealthy, toxic relationship, but the sex is good, maybe. I don't know. So I don't know how else to compare it to, but that's how I felt. I thought the game was a game, just in overview, that the Niners played like, I'd say, like a B minus C plus level at some areas, and still won pretty convincingly. That late touchdown doesn't really matter to me. But I want to hear your experience of actually being in Levi Stadium for the home opener.
Yeah, I give it a B. Obviously, the performance the 49er did. I mean, it wasn't perfect. They put up 32 points, Aaron, without really scoring touchdowns. Shout out to Jake Moody, the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. He deserved it, man. All the trash talk he's had, and all the people talking, smack about Jake Moody. Jake Moody haters, you get to shut up today because guess what? He dominated this weekend. Six
That was great.
field goals, 6 for 6. I mean, if you had him on your fantasy team, you cooked it. I had my buddy. He's like, "Oh, I'm about to win this week." Jake Moody, he's the field goal I'm going to get. He ended up losing because Jake Moody smoked it. He was sick. He's like, "Bro, Jake Moody kicked me out. He beat me week 1." I was like, "Well, that's what you get for talking smack." But yeah, it was a great experience overall. Just Levi Stadium, Monday Night Football. It was raucous. I mean, fans were. It was insane. Like it was packed. Week 1. I mean, the Super Bowl. They went to Super Bowl last year, defending NFC champs. The crowd was. I mean, the seats were expensive. People didn't matter. They packed that place. It was so loud. Just like when Fred Warner got the peanut punch, it was like loud. That was the momentum changer. You could just hear the fans taking over. Levi's is an actual. It was an absolute vibe. But yeah, my experience was great because I got to sit in like club seats, which is great because you get unlimited food and drinks. It's amazing. Shout out to my boy Moose. I was on the field. I had field access. I was sideline Raj. Like standing right here. Here's Frank Gore, Steve Young, John Lynch, freaking Jerry Rice. I see Ricky Pearsall. I see Sergeant Harrell who saved him like right in my face. It was crazy. Met some players. Tabor Pepper came up to me, said, "What's up, man?" I told him, "Go F it up." He goes, "We are locked in." Like actually I saw the special teams like Jake Moody, Mitch Wishnowsky, and Tabor. They were like sitting on the bench before they were warming up, and they just looked like gangsters. They were like raw. I was like, damn, the special teams, they look locked in today, and they definitely were 6 for 6. So yeah, it was a fantastic game, great experience. Again, I mean VIP club seats, field access, you can't beat it, especially for Monday Night Football, first game of the year. It was a hell of an experience. This is one of the best games I've ever been to. Just so many great things happening. A lot of fans there noticed me, so shout out to them that said what's up. It's crazy. They recognize me more than some of the other people. I was like, this. I'm not a player. Go say what's up to them. But no, it is pretty cool. It's so humbling to get that recognition. But man, I
You
sat
deserve it, man.
appreciate it. I just remember we're sitting there on the sideline. Steve Young's walking. I'm like, I look at my boy. I was like, "God, that's Steve Young. That's Steve Young." And then Frank Gore's right there. They're chopping it up. I was just like, blown away. I was
Right.
blown away. Yeah.
I'm a little bit older than you. I don't, and this isn't a shot at you. Like I don't get into hero worship. When I was younger, I was like, oh, Joe Montana, blah blah blah. But not gonna lie, dude. Even at my age now, if I'm sitting on area and I'm seeing all these guys that I watched on television 30 years ago grace my presence, I don't know about you, but I'd be fangirling it too. I wouldn't attack them or be weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, what are you gonna do? You're in that moment. It's just like, holy crap. Like honestly, I don't want to like fanboy over them, but you get like starstruck. You're just like, oh my god. It's like, wow, these guys are people you grew up watching, and you idolize them. I had the posters on the wall, especially like Steve Young and Jay Rice. Like I had tons of posters growing up, so it was just like surreal. They were like literally a couple feet away from me. So let's go. I said, "What's up?" Frank Gore, he recognized me. We've done a live before. We've talked. So, and I've seen him at events. I said, "What's up, Frank, man?" He goes, "What's up, bro?" He gave me the handshake, and I was like, "Oh, Like to be able to congratulate Frank Gore on his day was just amazing. So yeah, good stuff. I think my boy Aaron froze out over here. Uh-oh. We froze with Aaron. I don't know what's going on. We're on a split screen now, but I'm taking up both spots. I don't know what happened with Aaron, but we're gonna continue. Oh, there he is.
What in the world?
Oh man, you good?
Yeah, technical difficulties the last couple days, internet issues. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we're good.
And it killed the whole vibe. What I was going to say. No, it was very evident from the TV broadcast how packed that place was. Um, I usually don't start watching games. I usually watch them on mute for a bit because I don't like hearing the announcers. But eventually, I cracked and popped that thing on, and that place sounded like just from the TV. It sounded like it was really loud. It felt like I don't know how you feel about this, but over the last 10 years, I feel like Levi's has actually become a home field advantage for the 49ers.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely. And the players say it themselves. They say, get loud, wear your red. That is it. The Niners are a distinct home field advantage, and not just at home, on the road. They travel well. There is a report. I think Nick Wagner and Jennifer Lee Chan, they both said Vivid Seats is saying that the 49ers are going to about have 34% of fans showing up in Minnesota. That's not a easy trip to make it to. It's a long flight. It's a $245 ticket for the game. It's expensive, but the 49er fans are traveling 34% road in Minnesota is pretty good actually.
it is.
So, and they got a good fan base out in Minnesota. So that's a lot of good, that's a good traveling fan base. So the Niners, man, they know they always make their presence felt, but it at home at Levi's, it is definitely an advantage. Like again, it was so loud. Like there was a video I got, I didn't get to post it, but you just hear how loud it is. So there was that point before Debo's touchdown. There was like 3 flags, holding. Like they were just throwing these silly ass flags on the Niners. I wish they would throw those for Nick Bosa, but that's another story for another day. But anyways, they were throwing all these flags. The fans were they were like, "Refs, you suck! Refs, you suck!" I don't know if you heard it on the
I could hear
broadcast,
chanting. Yes,
but
yes.
oh man, it was loud in the video. You just see like a sea of refs. Refs, you suck! It was distinct advantage. And like I said, when Fred Warner did the peanut punch, like the crowd went, wow, oh my, it was so loud. I was like, well, this is crazy. It was crazy. And then, people because we're up in like the club area, we're up, you can sit in a seat if you want to, but you're in that thing. And it's kind of like, they have like the big windows that separate. There's people knocking on the windows. It's like, these fuckers are crazy. They're going to break the glass down. And the box, like on the side of us, you had Mike Shanahan there. I was like, bro, they're gonna break the glass next to Mike Shanahan. It was wild.
Yeah, it definitely was very evident on the TV broadcast. With everything that was talked about in the off season, just all the drama and stuff we talked about and things that were evident just from watching Twitter every day. I was like, do the Niners have that vibe still? Like that NFC champs, uh, best team in the NFC until proven otherwise. I wasn't sure if they were that. And I know it's only one game, but I felt by the end of that game that a lot of my worries and insecurities about what this team may be this year kind of went away
Yeah.
within the last 3 quarters of that game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said, 32 points against a really good Jets defense. Jets is a good defense. Let's be honest. They kept that team afloat last year without Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, his first game back, he ran into the buzzsaw Fred Warner and Leonard Floyd. I'm sure he was scared out of his cleats. Nick Bosa and everybody else. Niners defense is fantastic. The run defense was much improved. The defensive line, man, but they played great, and they're only going to get better. Trent Williams was amazing on Sunday, but Monday. He's going to get better. He had to go run to get an IV, but other than that, he was flawless. Like, this guy's aging like a fine wine. Dominic Pooney, I guess the only play, and they didn't even have Christian McCaffrey. Like, Jordan Mason, man, hats off to this guy. Fantastic. What a guy. The only guy that really didn't show up, and I was surprised, Brandon Ayuk. Colton McKivitz had a better game than Brandon Ayuk, which is crazy to me.
Which is really sad because Colton McKivitz is pretty much doo-doo water.
But I will give Brandon Ayuk credit. He owned up. On Sunday, he was it was a sick throw, the dime, because he didn't catch that dime from Purdy. And then today, they interviewed him, and he says, honestly, I didn't even want to watch the film. I was scared. And he said he didn't watch it until this morning. Like, he was upset about himself, and I'm sure it's eating at him. But a lot of the media has criticized him. Like, Peyton Manning went off that night on the Manning cast. And a lot of other people I've listened to this week, they said, listen, that's why you need training camp. That's why you need the practice. That's why you need the preseason reps. And I totally agree. Chad Ochocinco, I was listening to him last night on the nightcap. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. If you know, you know. But last night's show, before the controversy today, they was talking about it. And Ochocinco said, that's why you got to get to preseason. Even though you think preseason games don't matter, the timing, getting your game shape in, because Brandon just looked rusty. He looked out of shape. That's what happened to Debo.
He looked a little disengaged.
Yeah,
to me.
He's
like
tired.
When they showed him on the broadcast, he didn't look very engaged. Yeah, he looked kind of sad a little bit. Maybe like, man, maybe I should have came in early.
Yeah.
What was said about in the broadcast by Joe Buck, right?
Yeah.
He said that the Niners starting offense had not been together in totality since the Super Bowl. So I kind of look at the offense and how it was able to kind of move the ball, but still not score touchdowns. And it looked like just they were a hair short here, or Brock was a little bit inaccurate. It's weird. Like, I thought Brock played a kind of a like a standard game, but then you look at his numbers. He only had 10 incompletions.
He played good. He played
pretty well.
There was missed opportunities, like you said, a few plays here and there, a couple drops, but he no turnovers, and they moved the ball. Debo was cooking. Juwan Jennings was cooking. I would have liked to see Kittle get a little bit more action, but with Christian McCaffrey not there, it limits what they could do because people key in on him so much. Everybody else kind of spreads open. And again, right. Jordan Mason was fantastic, and I give him everything. But Jordan Mason's not CMC. They're not going to stack the box against Mason. They may now because he had that big game. But with Christian McCaffrey, they play up front, and then you can slide Debo out to the outside. You can put Kittle out, and move these guys a little bit more. But Kyle Juszczyk, man, that play right there. If anybody sits here and says, "Well, Brock Purdy's just he's terrible," no, man, that play he threw to Kyle Juszczyk was absolutely unbelievable. Like, that play, I was like, wow. And Kyle Juszczyk, a fullback, being able to do that shit is just incredible. And Kyle's had that play in the playbook for so many years. And every time we throw that deep pass to Kyle Juszczyk, it never works. That's the first time I've seen it happen. And I was like, damn, finally. Because you remember the Titans game? Kyle Juszczyk, Jimmy had him wide open by a country mile.
Overthrew him like 10 yards.
Oh, he threw it to San Jose. They were in Tennessee. I was so happy he hit that. So, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but there were some good signs. Again, 32 points on your week one. You're going to get better, and the condition's going to get better to these players. Brandon Ayuk will get better. Again, 2 drops. I think he had 2 drops all season last year, so he'll get back in there. But you're right. He kind of looked like, oh, I know I'm going to get roasted. Like, I could see, like, on his face, he was like, oh, media's going to eat me alive tonight, and they did.
I wonder if I should play the clip.
Play it.
I have it on here. Hopefully it doesn't glitch like yesterday. Everything's been glitching. It's like glitch nasty.
City. Play the clips, baby.
Oh, is it gone? Did it go bye-bye?
Oh, man.
Oh, I might not. Oh, hold on a sec. Let's see if I can add it to my videos. Give me a sec.
Give him a second, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to add it. I'll just spend some time talking about Jordan Mason. This guy was an undrafted free agent a couple years ago. 1.6% chance to make the roster that year. He tore it up actually against Minnesota in the preseason and made his mark. He showed up, showed out, and he's just marched his way up the rankings of this roster. Man, this guy's amazing, man. You gotta love Jordan Mason. Just a hard nosed runner. He runs like Marshawn Lynch, just smash mouth, pound it down your throat. This guy was fantastic. And, Niner fans, we've been clamoring for Jordan Mason. We sit here and say Jordan Mason
We
running
have
back
been.
too, and he finally got his shot, and now the world knows him, and now he's the hottest waiver priority in fantasy football. Like if you're a fantasy football player and you need a running back, I guarantee you have a waiver priority on Jordan Mason because you're like, how many weeks is CMC going to be out? And I want to talk about CMC. He got Achilles tendonitis. It's
Yeah.
no joke. It's not just a calf strain now. This is dangerous injury. This is kind of one of those things where if they rush it, they play him too much, he's at risk for really rupturing the Achilles tendon. And it's this very similar situation to Dre Greenlaw last year, where he, was dealing with a lot of calf and Achilles injuries. I remember last year he was in and out of practice, finally caught up with them. So they got to be careful. These next two games are on turf. Ian Rappaport this morning said it's a long shot. It's going to be a long shot for CMC to play. So I'm a little worried about CMC. I'm not going to lie to you.
That's why you develop other players and get a chance to see if they can actually play when the bullets are flying live. And I thought Jordan Mason played very, very, very well. I think he surprised me with just how tough he was between the tackles. I knew he could, take a beating, but that man almost ran the ball 30 times and
Yeah.
didn't look very, he didn't look like somebody who was like, overwhelmed with the spotlight or overwhelmed with the responsibility. I can't say. I think it's Kawachipto.
Kawachipto.
He says that was one of the Rock's best performances, in my opinion. That is the best secondary in football, and it wasn't perfect, but efficient and -1 drive, hit everyone in the hands and avoided like 3 or 4 sacks. Yeah, I think myself, because I kind of have an unrealistic thing in my head about how I grade players, how I look at players. I ain't that guy. I thought Brock was standard. I didn't, it wasn't bad. There was some throws, but then like after I watched the game and I'm like, man, I really have a high standard of how I look at quarterbacks. He actually played like he said, a very efficient game and avoided some sacks. And I thought he didn't make the big mistake too, like Jimmy is prone to do, where you just like, what was he doing? Where are you looking? Like there's 3 linebackers there. So thought that was one of his better performances too. Now that I got a chance to look at, I want to play this clip. This is the clip that I played this yesterday. This was on the Manning cast when the drop by Ayuk occurred. Peyton Manning I felt like he was channeling his inner playing career the way he kind of snapped on him. So get it, Peyton. I agree with Peyton. I was a little saucy. Some people were really mad at Ayuk. Were you paying attention to Twitter while you were at the game?
I got to do both.
People were relentless on this, man. I was mad. I wouldn't say I was like, oh my God, you don't deserve your contract. He's right. That was a perfect throw.
He was brutally honest, Aaron. That's really what it is. It's at the end of the day, get in there, figure it out, get in there, play the reps, get the chemistry with your quarterback. Because these guys, they train, they're working out, but they're not working out with Brock Purdy, their quarterback. They're not working out with their starting quarterback that they're going to be actually catching passes from. You're probably catching from some, I'm not gonna say geek off the street, but
Schlub.
Weekend warrior out there. I'll throw you the ball, BA. I'll throw you the ball, or a jugs machine. But it's not the same as getting the live reps with your quarterback. And I agree with them. I mean, I wasn't like mad, but I could see the fans were pissed because this is what we said a couple weeks ago when he did sign that contract. I said, Aaron, the moment BA does a bad game or has a drop or something, they're gonna eat him alive, and they ate him alive. After the game, the media, I flipped the video of him talking, and now he said, it was a dime, it was a sick pass. I wish, need to make those catches. Like the comments were like, yo, you motherfucker should cut. I was like, yo, they did not like it. And then today, same thing when he says, I didn't watch the film until today. I was sick. Fans were not happy. I had some, let's just say I had a big big wig on the Niners say that's a $30 million drop.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It just. I think when we and you and other people talk about like when we try to like break it down, like okay, why he may be worth a certain amount of money, but he's not worth that elite amount of money. He's just to me, he's just that notch below, and it's stuff like that. It's just I don't know, man. Like he's not the guy that people game plan for, and that's the point I was trying to make when he was holding out for so long. Like
He's great. He's a fantastic player. Like he does so many things at a high level, route running, blocking. He is a good player. Like he was very efficient last year, right? He
right,
was top 10 receiver. He was not top 10 in receptions and targets, but he had a great play. But again, you have a lot of weapons around him. You're absolutely right. They're not game planning for Brandon Ayuk. I'm sure they look at the film and they say, okay, how are we going to neutralize him? Teams are game planning for CMC. They're game planning for Debo Samuel because the way he operates in this offense, and George Kittle, I feel, before Brandon Ayuk. And it's not a slight. That's why he was the fourth option, and he's a fantastic player. But would he be wide receiver one on another team? I don't know. I don't know. He's so good though, and I'm glad we have him. But he's a little rusty. He needs to work that timing up. That was like a preseason game for him. Honestly, that was like a preseason game. The team's already past preseason, so he needs to get up to speed. Now, the thing I'll say is, Debo, again, people say he's not a wide receiver one. Yeah, Debo might not be like a true wide receiver one, but he's going to get his yards no matter what. You find a way to put the ball in his hands. You let him run. You let him catch passes. You let him do whatever he needs to do. He's going to find ways to make plays. Like this is he's determined. There was a play that it was like towards the end of the game. I think it was fourth quarter where Brock he was trying to evade the defenders. He slips it to Debo. Debo on the corner. He like stops on a dime. Defender dives right by him, and then he jukes him, put him on skates really, and then he slips up the field for another 10 yards, and then he does a little slime motion. Debo's so good. Brandon Ayuk can't do that stuff, and he's good. Brandon Ayuk is so good at what he does, but you can't replicate what Debo does.
Debo's like the Swiss Army knife. He's the Percy Harvin with muscles. He can do a lot of stuff, and he can do it from different places on the field. He could be a wide receiver. He could be not a fullback, a running back. I mean, and you could say probably the same thing about Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is kind of a guy who you could put in different places on the team, and he'll, in the broadcast they were talking about he could probably be a really good slot receiver if he was in the NFL because that's just how he how talented he is and how much he puts into playing the game. Christian McCaffrey,
Yeah.
Debo maybe to a lesser extent. I think with Debo, I really don't want to see him run all that much. Me and Bashar were talking about like where was Isaac Garendo, but then I answered my own question. Kyle doesn't trust rookies or young people. He rather
Well,
jam 10 plays of Debo down your throat than risk putting Garendo out there so he can fumble away a game that, the Niners desperately, need or whatever. I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't say he doesn't always trust the younger players. I mean, to an extent, yeah, he doesn't want all the younger players in there. They got to prove that they got to earn that position, that ability to play. Because there are some youngsters that play like Dominic Pooney. The guy's amazing, but
Wow.
with the skill players, it's about blocking and knowing the blocking lanes and the assignments. Like those assignments are very important, and that's why players like Danny Gray. That's why those players just never panned out, and also injuries, right? Trey Sermon, all those guys got hurt. Who was the dude from LSU they drafted, the running back? Name's escaping me. He was the other running back, third rounder.
Oh, oh my God. I know exactly what you're talking about. Who was the guy that you just said?
Oh my God, I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. But anyways, the point I'm making is those guys just didn't know the blocking assignments, and that was the problem. Ty Davis Price, thank you, JD.
Thank
TDP.
you.
Ty Davis Price. Like those guys, they had good abilities in college, but in the NFL, they didn't understand the blocking assignments. And I'm not saying Isaac Guerrero doesn't. He's still young. He's still learning. And you got to remember, Guerrero didn't have a lot of experience because he was one of those guys that just started to burst on the scene. And Kyle liked his film and was like, well, we got to get this guy because he's got the speed. That's why they drafted Guerrero, blazing speed, right? So that's a weapon that they're going to be able to use. But he's got to develop and learn those blocking assignments. So right now, Jordan Mason, again, this guy's been on the team for a few years. He was undrafted. He's worked his way up. He's had to learn those things. He's had to really prove himself. He's really had to earn his keep. He's really had to show Kyle, like, I know these block assignments. You put me in, dog, and I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And he's also, remember, he got the jugs machine this offseason. He put in the work to say, I need to be receiving the ball like CMC. Like, he's trying to be like CMC. It's not easy to do. And after the
No.
game, they asked him, they said, yo, how do you feeling? He goes, I'll be honest with you. It's not easy trying to, he says, I don't know how CMC does it. Like, he said, I am exhausted. How does CMC do it? And that's the thing. CMC's a robot. He trains himself like a madman, which is, I feel so bad for Christian McCaffrey because he does train so incredibly hard. And honestly, the fact that he's got this injury, I'm sure it's eating him alive. If you watch the press conferences today or the locker room, stuff where he was in the back end and they were interviewing him and stuff, he looked really depressed today. I was like, you could tell it's eating at him. Like he said,
He's got that Jerry Rice obsessive level of training, and when you put all that time into the off season and then you're not able to play, it's got to be absolutely just aggravating because his life, his whole existence is being a running back for the 49ers. And like, he's never satisfied with how he plays, no matter how good he plays. And that's the sign of a Hall of Fame type player. Cause I'll be honest with you. At the end of his career, Christian McCaffrey's going in the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt in my mind.
Easy money.
OF player. And it's not just because he's on the 49ers. I felt like he was that when he was in Carolina. So, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, those guys realize, like, man, this is a lot of work.
Yeah, and playing running back is very difficult. It's the hardest. You get hit the most. You're the first person to usually take the beatings. You get hit a lot. And again, Jordan Mason ran over 20 to like 28 times. That's a lot to take all those hits.
It is a lot.
That's a lot. So, the fact that CMC is able to do that every week and just be what he was and put up the stats he had last year, Offensive Player of the Year, to put up all those numbers he did, is just an impressive feat. So, seeing Jordan Mason, it's his first start, and he was like, that was hard work, man. That's not easy. That's why running backs have a short shelf life. So you got to give respect to these guys that have been grinding. Like Frank Gore, man. Shout out to Frank Gore, Hall of Famer. This guy, every year, he was so consistent. 1,000 yards, just grinding out. He was the number one weapon on this team. Like, they didn't have an offense. It was Frank Gore. Give him the ball. Everybody knew he was getting the ball. And back then, the game was physical. He was taking 20, 30 hits a game, just blood working. They were like, what are the Niners going to do? They're going to hand it off to Frank Gore. How would they get first downs? I don't know. Frank Gore was just different. The guy was a monster, man. And the fact that he played for so many years is just incredible. At his position, after coming out of college with the 2 torn ACLs, like, he blew his knee out twice. Nobody thought he was going to amount to anything. The Niners took a chance on this guy, and now he's a Hall of Fame running back. Like,
yeah. And anybody who says he isn't is crazy.
Crazy.
JD said JP Mason is a restricted free agent next year. Do the Niners match any offer for him? I don't know. The way the Niners are able to find running backs, they were talking in the broadcast. I don't know if they zoomed in on him in the stadium, but they were talking about old man running back guru.
We talking about
our running back guru from the Shanahan era that they still on the 49ers, old man.
The running backs coach, right? Are you talking about?
Yeah, I can't. Me and need to think like Ginkoba or something because my memory is bad. But yeah, they were referring to him about how he's kind of like a running back whisperer, and that they're always able to find running backs no matter what. And that when I see a question, Bobby Turner, thanks.
Bobby Turner.
When I see a question like that, I'm like, I don't know, because they might find some other guy out of college.
This is my take on it. No, if Jordan Mason has the season that he can have, if CMC misses an extended period of time, Jordan Mason's getting paid. He's getting a fat contract. Niners have other priorities because they got Brock Purdy next year. You got other guys, Lenore, Mooney Ward. I would love to keep Jordan Mason, and I definitely hope he can stay, but there's certain players that at some point leave, like Azeez Al-Shahir. He was expendable because we have so many good linebackers, right? Niners are great at running backs. As long as Christian McCaffrey's going to be back and healthy next year, it's going to be one of those things. And the Niners can draft running backs. They do have a great track record with late round picks. Like you said, Bobby Turner and Kyle Shanahan, they know how to churn them out. They have Isaac Orendo. He has good potential. Maybe he develops into that next phase because it took Jordan Mason a few years to get here, and I think Isaac Guerrero could develop into that. But if Jordan Mason plays like he did last week on a weekly basis, that man's about to become a rich mofo. So I don't think he's gonna
And
be
yeah,
back.
and running backs don't usually get paid, but I mean, he's fresh, he's
Well,
young.
he'll get paid at the top level at a running
Right.
back position because people are like, oh wow, he's a running back one for us. 'Cause he could start on any team right now. If he was not on the Niners, because we got Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he started last week and look what he did. If he was on any other team, he'd be running back one anywhere. He's so good.
Yeah, that was an incredible performance. I know we touched on this, but the 49ers offensive line in the run game that looked like the old Dallas line from back in early 90s with Eric Williams, Stepnoski, all those incredible players. They just the ball the line was creating holes in the second level. I mean, it was amazing. Players
Hmm.
were getting turned sideways. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody could run behind that line because that would be a disservice to Mason, but that was an impressive feat by that offensive line, especially Dominic Pooney. How
Mm.
just what was it like looking up from the top and seeing that offensive line push people around? Crying?
Tears in my face, Aaron, because you know how much we talked about we need a better. Oh, this old line's gonna be. Oh my God, this old line. I mean, Jake Brendel and Colton McKivitz still got room to grow,
Yeah,
but
they do.
Dominic Pooney, man, they were running so good on the right side, and of course Trent. Now they have an option to go run right, run left, run right, and Pooney made Colton McKivitz kind of look a little better if you watch the film. And also, he did a lot of stuff that was out of his assignment. Like he just does whatever he had to do. Like he'll just be like that cleanup guy. I saw him like he'll drop back, he sees something coming, he'll go block that guy, double block. He'll block like two guys. It's crazy. Watch the film. I'm sure many people have posted already. Baldy did. These gurus out there film breaking. Like there was so many clips of like Pooney drop back and he just muscling dudes. Quinnen Williams, he made Solomon Thomas look so silly. Oh my God. And then there was a play where, again, like two guys come at him and he just stood it up. I was like, how's this guy standing tall against two Jet defensive linemen? And the Jets D lineman is good. The D line is so good. So, yeah, Pooney, A+ performance. He's a star. What a
Magnifique.
damn player, man. Fuck.
Dude, we get a right tackle on this team and we're good to go, man. We are
Mm-hmm.
good to
Mm-hmm.
go because we got Trent locked up. Now we have to worry about Aaron Banks, what's going on with him. But man, between those two on the left side, uh, clearing out space, Leon's 100% right. It's the first time in a long time you've heard a broadcast call a Niners O line dominant. Yeah,
It's
they're
awesome, dude.
the Niners have some holes in their O line. I think McKivitz is not very good. Um, he's just not. And our center, like he's just a serviceable guy.
Yeah,
He's just
Jake
a
the Snake.
guy.
Jake the
Yeah,
Snake, Brenda. I'm
yeah,
not a fan of him, but
yeah.
I'll say this: I love Trent, and he was so great. All right, like he only had to, he played so hard, he got dehydrated. He had to go get the IV. He came right back up. He did his thing. But okay, in 2 years, we got to figure out a left tackle. Like you said, we need a right tackle. We do. We also need to plan that left tackle for the future because Trent makes that D line, that O line so good. And then you take him away, we're back to square one. We need a left tackle. So they still need a plan for the future after this year. They need two tackles. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, but the O line was great. I think I was watching Pat McAfee today. He says they were the number two O line in the league last week. I was like, wow, wow. Shout out to the Niners O line, man. Chris Forster, coach O line coach. Shout out to him. The D line was superb, man. I love Malik Collins, Javon Hargrave. They were dogging in the trenches. Jordan Elliott, the newcomer. Leonard Floyd. He didn't play a lot, but when he was in, he was making his presence felt. Dude, those guys were just running it up, man. I loved what I saw.
Malik uh,
Collins?
Malik Collins is a definite difference maker. I
Yeah.
feel like him next to Hargrave gives the Niners a really good 1-2
Hmm.
defensive tackle combination. Since I said Bryant Young and Dana Stubblefield, but I forgot Eric Armstead and Forrest Buckner. But they it looked like they fed off each other.
Yeah.
He just was pushing the pocket back, and that's what you want,
Hmm.
because essentially what you want is you want to push that pocket back so that the guys in the end can come around and do some damage.
Yeah.
I will say this though, Aaron Rodgers looks old.
I mean, he's
He
40 years
can't
old. What do you
move.
expect? This is his first game. I'll say this. He did look sluggish. He looked like he was walking through quick, like mud. He looked like he was walking through quicksand. But I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt. It's just his first game off an Achilles. It's a tough injury. And that's why I'm worried, for guys like Dre Greenlaw. He can't just rush it back. You got to be ready when you're ready. But this D line, they were making him sweat, man. And that's the thing. That's what happened last year, why he got injured, because the O line was just getting rucked up. They improved their O line this year, but also 40-year-old guy coming off of Achilles, that's tough, man. Playing against this D line for your first game back, I mean that was a tough task for Aaron. I still think he'll be okay and he'll do what he has to
Still,
do,
I was
but.
still scared of him the whole game.
Yeah, oh yeah. There was times. I mean, they moved the ball when there was certain points where they did move the ball. So I think they'll be okay. But man, first game back after an Achilles, you got to run into the Niners. Fred Warner, fuck, dude. Fred Warner was just
He
all
was a
over
man
the place.
possessed.
The guy was like glue to every sideline. That guy's so good at football, man. Like the peanut punch. When I saw that, I was like, oh god, Fred Warner is on a mission tonight. Like he is so good. I just need Fred Warner to be in the defensive player of the year conversation all year. They need to put some respect on him. Man, if Fred Warner were to win like defensive player of the year, shit, man, I'd lose it. He needs to get some turnovers. That's what he has to do. He has to like the turnover was great. Forced
Launch.
fumble. He
Yep.
needs to get a few interceptions. If he can get a few interceptions and keep forcing those fumbles, he's got a chance, man. Because he's gonna rack up the tackles. If he gets some sacks, I mean, man, I would love to see Warner get that defensive player of the year. He's so good. Like he truly is the quarterback of the defense. He's smart, man. He just sees the field and he's got energy. Like his pregame, did you hear? He goes, "We're in the business of whooping people's ass," right? He says that in the pregame, right? In the huddle, he's just like hyped up. We're in the business of whooping their ass, right? After the game, Garrett Wilson, he's like, "Man, they just whooped our ass." that was
I saw
great. He
that. I
manifested,
saw
yeah.
that. That was like a WWE promo, man.
Yeah,
Stone Cold
I
Steve Austin
loved
talking
it.
about whooping ass.
I loved it.
Kawa Chipto said they really need Gross Matos back. I do agree,
Yeah,
because it was like the Leonard Floyd Bosa show out there. So it'd be nice to get another player to put into that rotation. I was reading something on Twitter saying that this might be the first time in a long time the Niners have two legitimate edge guys coming off with Bosa and Leonard Floyd
yeah.
since probably D Ford. So that's a
This
good
is
problem
this
to have.
is what they wanted out of D Ford and Bosa, right? They didn't get it out of D Ford because of the injuries. If Leonard Floyd could be what we expect him to be, oh man, this is gonna be so fun because yeah, you got to worry about two guys screaming off the edge, and if that interior can, like you said, collapse that pocket, push everybody back, you got interior pressure, you got outside pressure. You're gonna be running for your head, man. You're gonna be running for your life. That's what Aaron Rodgers was doing, and again, because he was limited in mobility with the Achilles, like he couldn't run to save his life, so the pocket collapsed on him, and he didn't have time, and then that took pressure off of our corners. And I mean, Mooney Ward and Diamond Lenore were just straps. But
Yeah.
Mooney Ward, they did not want to throw to him. They
Nope.
didn't want to throw to him.
Nope.
So
That
good.
Niners did, and that tipped pass that turned into an
Oh,
interception. That looked like a bait throw because it's like the
mm-hmm.
way that he was playing behind the receiver, and then as Rodgers threw it, he kind of closed in on
He
it. I
closed
think
on. Yeah, he
that
just
was
went.
like I had a little bit of a Dion flashback because Dion was the guy who always would bait quarterbacks into making throws because he had an incredible catch up speed. Not saying that he's Deion Sanders. I'm just saying it was a little reminiscent. For I'm old enough to know and remember that. So shout out to
I
anybody.
think like his idol or some. There's some connection between Dion and Dion Lenore. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there is a connection between Lenore and Sanders there. So I mean, I'm sure he modeled his game off of him like a lot of corners did. But yeah, man, that he baited the heck out of him, and he was covering Garrett Wilson. Everybody's sitting here telling me Garrett Wilson's unbelievable. He's Dion Lenore, clap city on that boy. He did not let him do
Other than that one
anything.
drive that they moved the ball and maybe a little bit of other stuff, like there wasn't much going on with that offense. Some of the pass coverage was really good considering the Niners really only rush 4 players. They don't blitz. The Niners play a lot of zone defense. I hate zone because zone is, if you don't get pass rush, you can pick it apart. But number 59, that's the linebacker that we brought in from that who he brought in to replace Drake Greenlaw while he was hurt. I forgot who's 59 again. The linebacker.
Devondre Campbell.
Yeah, AJ said that he didn't look good. He looked okay. I didn't think he looked great.
He's not Dre Greenlaw. That's
There's
the
some
thing.
bad angles towards the end of the game I was seeing on the defense. They took some bad angles at the end. I was a little pissed off. They could have shut that drive down with Tyrod Taylor in there, and it was like, really, we're gonna let them score? There was a play where Bosa wasn't even lined up at defensive end when they snapped it. I'm just like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
But
I think they just wanted. Honestly, I think they wanted to get out of that game without any injuries at that point.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But they held on. They got the dub, and I think also too. I think the Jets were just trying to like instill some pride and say, "Hey, look, man, we lost this one, but let's build some momentum for the next
we
week." I feel
scores.
like,
Yeah. That's what you always do at end the games, even if it doesn't mean anything. What about that? The situation going on with the injury report where the Niners could get fined.
That was interesting, man. So Jordan Mason, Lisa Salters asked him, "So when did you know you were starting?" He goes, "Yeah, Friday night." And he was hyped up. That was his night, first career start, bro. Was career day. And then they asked Kyle, "So when did Jordan Mason know he was starting?" He goes, "Oh, he just it wasn't Friday." He basically said, "I told him to be ready. I told him he might get a big usage out of this game, but I didn't tell him he was starting Friday." And then Mason comes up in the media again. He said, "Hey, when did you know you were starting?" And he got pissed because kind of ruined the vibe of his night. It was supposed to be a good night for him, and they took it away by saying, "Hey, why don't you tell us the truth?" Basically, and one thing, and me and
Mayoka
Larry,
out of all people too that asked that question.
so me and Larry talked about this last night. One thing I felt like maybe he needs a little bit more PR training because you got to be upfront, and also maybe Kyle says something later like, "Hey, bro, if we don't give the injury report ahead of time." Because they said he was CMC was going to be questionable that week, and he said an hour before kickoff is when Kyle said we just knew an hour before kickoff. I'm sure they knew, but you got to designate that stuff ahead of time because you don't want to get fined. They haven't looked into it yet, but I'm sure this weekend we'll hear because the weekend Saturdays is when they release the fines and all that stuff from the week. They do their investigations, but I think it was more of like Kyle saying, "Crap, we got to cover my ass." We didn't say it. Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe it was a slip of the tongue from Mason. I mean, the guy was hyped out of his mind. He was probably like, "Oh yeah, Friday," and they kind of crushed his night. I felt bad for Mason, but at the same time, he hasn't really spoke to the media a lot. He has
needs
not
some
had
PR training
he
for.
hasn't really had that opportunity. This was the first time, so I feel bad. So he does need some PR training, but the media should have just let it be, man.
Come on, Matt Mayoko, you know better. You're one of my favorite peoples.
Come on, Double M.
Double M. He's one of my. I mean, I told you the other day. I said there's 4 people that I get news from. You, Sterling Bennett, Mayoka, and Barrows. Those are my guys. Those are the guys if I want news and I want to know if it's legit and I see it on my timeline, you're the 4 guys. That's it.
My number one though is my boy Cam Inman. I've been Cam Inman guy for like years. He's been covering his team for years, and I've met him many times. We've done live. Like Cam Inman, he's just he's a solid dude. And every time I go to events and I see him, he's like he's excited to see me. I'm like, I'm more excited to see you. He
I
goes,
love
"No,
people like that.
yeah,
I love
he's a
people
cool
like
dude."
that.
And
What do you think about the Niners with the 32-year losing record in Minnesota? Ooh.
Hold on, he sent me his book. I don't know. I've been reading this. It's the curated history of the faithful from Cam Inman. Frank Gore wrote the foreword, and George Kittle did. It's a good book. I mean, he's been covering this team for centuries, for like 2 decades, not centuries, 2 decades. And basically how the 49ers became the Niners. It's like a history through his eyes. He talks about all the quarterbacks like through the years, Joe Montana, Brock Purdy, all these guys, and just man, all the stuff you want to know. And it's like he talks about the history, but then he puts his own twist on it. It's a good book. If you want to go buy it, go check it out, man. It's from Cam Inman, The Franchise, San Francisco 49ers, A Curated History of the Faithful. It's a good book.
That's awesome. AJ, you read my mind. He said, okay, if the Niners get a fine, then KC and the ref who allowed DC to call a timeout should be fined as well. Yeah, what's up with Kansas City getting away with shit all the time?
They're controlled by the league. The league loves them. It's rigged. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that. But
no,
yeah, dude,
there's definitely a little bit of Patriot mania going on right now.
They get away with everything, man. They get away with they got Taylor Swift. They got Patrick Mahomes.
They got offensive tackle who starts early on every play and nothing is called.
Oh, he just sits back.
Bro,
and then he does this little move, and then he jumps the snap, and they never call it. They call the same play or the same thing happened against the Ravens. They called it instantly.
I feel
Instantly.
like the other team knows it's rigged too, because it's like they don't even get mad. You ever when I don't listen. When I say that tongue in cheek, but it's like I see things as a fan, and I'm like, why isn't the other team or the people in the front office losing their mind with the league office and just being like, what the is going on? It's like everybody's just like, well, that's just how it is, it's how it goes. And I'm like, from a fan's perspective, someone who's not on the inside, everything looks super riggy, even though it might not be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's wild, dude. It really is wild. But at the end of the day, man, the league really has to go up against the Chiefs with the refs in their pocket, and I feel like that. Say what you want, call me a Niner homer, call me a conspiracy theorist. It's the way I feel, bro. It's the way I feel.
A
It's
lot of people who
unfortunate.
watch the Super Bowl with Bills fans felt the exact same thing.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, that was rigged, bro. Like,
Rick,
but
Mike.
it is what it is. There's literally nothing we can do about
There's
it.
literally nothing.
The only
Yeah.
thing that could happen for the 49ers is to have Patrick Mahomes break his leg and he can't play. Although he injured himself a couple
I don't
playoff
want
series
that, man.
ago.
No, I don't.
No,
I don't
I'm
want.
not. Hold up. I wasn't wishing injury. I'm just saying that's the only chance we have of it to be fair, because if he ain't there, then like they don't have a shot in freaking hell.
That's
But no, I'm
that's
not trying to wish. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come across like that. Everyone's like,
true.
you asshole. Um, let's talk the Minnesota game. Niners are favored by 6, at least the last time I checked. This
Mm-hmm.
is one of those games where like they haven't won in Minnesota in 32 years.
1992, Aaron. I
I was
was what?
12.
I was 8 years old. 8 years old. Fourth grade, Raj.
I'm 44. I was 12 years old. That's the last time they won in Minnesota. That was like the Mark Logan, freaking Ricky Waters,
Eight,
freaking
bro. I was
yeah.
8 years old. I was 8 years old. I was learning how to do multiplication, division. That's what I was doing.
He was like, what am I going to do when I grow up? Oh, I got some connections already at 8 years old with the 49ers front office.
Well,
You
hey,
were already plotting.
hey,
What are you talking
Parag.
about?
What's up, Parag? Can you come out and play today? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Rod, can you throw the football with me in my backyard? And when I get older, can you promise me a job in the 49ers organization? We'll act
Yeah.
like I'm not really working for them just to make it look like nothing's suspicious.
Yeah. No,
No,
seriously,
I'm
1992, bro.
yeah. It's so funny because their quarterback right now, Sam Darnold, like really?
Sammy D.
What do you make of that? He looked pretty good, but then it's like week one is week one. It's so I was telling my brother this year, after the Super Bowl and the heartbreak and everything, I said I got to start just enjoying week to week, like just watch the game, enjoy it, and then move to the next week instead of thinking down the line like, oh, we got to play this team in 4 weeks, and bro, just watch the games. I think when I do that mentally, my mindset, I'm able to enjoy it more because I'm always thinking forward.
Me too. Well,
Because
I have to with running content. You're always thinking weeks ahead. Like, okay, what am I gonna do if I have like certain interviews or things and stuff? And you got to it's tough because I want to just live week to week and watch the game and enjoy the moment, but I'm always having to think about down the road. So yeah,
yeah, if I had
it's
a if
nice.
I had a
It's
big page
nice.
like you, I would be more stressed. I'm just like,
It's
I'm not
so
doing this
stressful,
for
dude.
money, so I
It's so
don't have to care.
stressful. It is so stressful,
I
but
don't
it's
know how you
fun.
keep your enthusiasm all the time.
I mean, I'm just a super fan, man. What can I
You
say?
are a
I don't
super
know.
fan.
I mean,
Oh, you
that's
are.
it. It is. It is. That's the thing. But I will say this: Minnesota, yeah, they had a good opener last week. They got the dub. Sam Darnold, everybody was hyping them up. But you got to remember, they played the New York Giants. And Giants are trash. I think that's the big takeaway from watching them last week. I mean, I watched every game last week because we didn't have a game until Monday, so it was nice. Got to watch all the games. I saw Sammy D, and yeah, he looked okay last week. And everybody, Kyle talked him up today in his presser. Says, I'm happy for him. Wish he would have been able to bring him back, but he got a starting job, and that's great for him. And Kyle's probably very proud because he helped him kind of right his ship here because yeah, he's had a bad career. He was a bust, really, if you think about it. He was one of the top draft picks over the last couple of years. Big time coming out of USC, a lot of expectations. He just didn't live up to it. Although they had bad coaching in the New York back then, and it was a tough situation. And then the seeing ghosts. Then he
I
got
was
ran
just
out of
gonna.
there. He
Yeah.
went to Carolina. He was okay, and then 49ers gave him a chance, and he was a decent backup. Now he's got another chance, so it's good for him. But they played the Giants.
Damn you, internet! You're gonna wait right till the end of the stream, aren't you? There
Hello.
he is.
Sorry,
Okay, I'm
someone's.
back.
Yeah, we're back. So I think Sam Darnold has he's gonna have his work cut out for him this weekend. That's all I'm gonna say. Different defense than the Giants.
Giants. Somebody in the comments said that they may not even win a game this year. They look. I don't know if the Giants per se look bad. I just think their quarterback's awful. Awful player. Uh, it might be looking about that time, guys. He's got to get him blown up, so we might need to get out of here.
Yeah,
We'll
I
give it a
might need to
second.
get out of here. What was I gonna say? Yeah, let's final thoughts on the Vikings Niners. What do you think? What's your overall
I
takeaway?
think
How
the
bad?
Niners win the game. I can't see it. I can't see any in my mind. I can't see a way unless a couple injuries happen significantly that it might be a close game early on. But I just think the Niners in general are just, I mean, head and shoulders above Minnesota. It is a weird road game. They do, like I said, they have issues playing in Minnesota for some reason. But I mean, they're so much better. There's no Kirk Cousins. There's no Josh Dobbs. Um, we'll see. I mean, Sam Darnold, I think, is competent enough to lead a team at least for a little bit. So I'm confident though that they'll come away with the victory.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to having football now back in my life and letting it just marinate week to week instead of thinking about, because the Super Bowl really had me down up until even when I was watching the game in the beginning, the first quarter, I wasn't really super engaged. And then the punch out happened and all this other stuff. And I started getting that emotion again. Like I was screaming at the TV with the refs. I was like banging stuff. I'm like, oh, wait. Oh, it's back. Like it came back. Like all that crap that I said I wasn't going to do after the season because I was bitter, it all came back. It was amazing. I wanted to text you like, Raj, it happened.
I knew you'd be back. It's what
I went
that's
through
how it goes.
niner puberty again.
You know what? People go through their phases. Unlike me, because I got to do this 24/7. I just stay in grind mode, stay in positivity because I know another season's coming. But a lot of fans, they were pissed off. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was upset that we lost Super Bowl. I was sad. I had my emotions, but just like the team, you got to move on and keep going if you want to cover the team and talk about the team. Yeah, it was stressful, but I saw it through the comments on my IG page and Twitter. People were sour all year. Fuck that. It was nasty. It was tough, but after that every win and the way the game went, everybody was back on track. We are back, baby. Like I see the followers flowing
There
in
was a
again. I
ton of
see.
questions. We were talking about it. Like there was just a lot of
Yeah,
bad vibes. The vibes
no,
were
there
horrible.
was. And then the media was saying bad vibes. There's like Peter Schrager on Good Morning Football last week says, I don't. He didn't have the Niners winning the NFC West because the vibes in the locker room. The vibes are as high as they can be. Ricky Persall got shot. Everybody's happy now because this man survived a bullet to the chest.
Wearing that Rolex on the sideline in
Bro,
complete defiance.
I'm glad you brought that up because
That was a
I saw
that was
that.
a suck it from the old
Oh
DX
my
days
god,
right there. That was
that
this.
was Ricky Persall. Suck it, baby. That was amazing. Okay, so he got shot. Right, he fought back, got shot. We know the whole story.
Yeah.
Comes out of the hospital, goes to the training facility to go with the team. He's on practice field. I know he's not rehabbing, right? He's taking it easy right now. But next week he's going to rehab, according to Kyle, in the reports. And then he comes to the game on his birthday, and he still has the Rolex, Ricky Rolex. He still has the Rolex. Oh my
He's
God,
got
I
so
love
many
him.
names.
I
Ricky
love him.
Rolex,
I
Slick
love him.
Rick,
I love him,
Big
man.
Rick, like all those names. I'm just like you have it. I was going to ask you because it's a road game. What's the plan? Any things with the organization? Anything cool going on this week that you're doing, or is it just watch
Not
the
this
game type
weekend.
of
I did,
vibe?
I did the rally last week. I actually helped host and promote the 40, actually hosted by the 49ers and my group, the Gold Rush Tour at the Plex, the place that I do my show. And, I'm sponsored by them. We actually got the 49ers to go to the Plex and they loved it. It was great. So I connected with them. So that was
Awesome, bro.
cool. But this week, I'm not doing any um, stuff for parties or anything. So if there are, I don't know about them. I'm sure there are. But
That's
this is gonna
awesome.
be it's gonna be a good week. Hopefully, Niners get the dub. It's the only thing I hate. It's the morning game. I hate morning games. You're on the East Coast, so it don't matter to you. Me, I gotta wake up at the crack of dawn.
I like the afternoon games too, the 4 o'clock games personally too. When I watch Niner games because I like to watch the 1 o'clock games and relax and get myself
Hmm.
mentally.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it flips because if the Niners play well and win, you're in a good mood, and now you're like, okay. Because I was thinking, I was going to ask you, like, what was your observation of the Rams in Seattle? Like, what's your thought on the West? I think the Rams are the more dangerous team. Geno Smith, as long as he's the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, their offense is atrocious.
Yeah, I'm not scared of Geno. Same old sorry old Geno. I'm gonna
And it's
write him
hard to
off.
give a thing on their defense. It's hard to rate them because they were playing against Bo Nix.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They played against Bo Nix. First start in his career, rookie. The defense does look good though. I will say they got a good defense, but Geno Smith doesn't do anything for me. The Rams are banged up already. That's the team that they're gonna be good, but they're banged up. They got to stay healthy because they just lost Puka for 4 weeks. He's on the IR. A couple other players got hurt,
Or their
but Matt
offensive line is a
Stafford.
little ding too.
Yeah, that's who it was. Their O line got a lot of players dinged up. Matt Stafford, if he gets hurt, they're toast because then Jimmy Garoppolo's got to start games where they are cooked out. I think they're a good team. McVay's a great coach, but they got to stay healthy, man. That's their issue right now. They don't have a lot of depth. And then the Cardinals, man. I'll say this: they're a scrappy team. They're gonna fight hard. I think they're gonna be a tough beat this year. I don't know if
Yes,
they're
I
gonna
do too.
win. I don't think they're gonna win a lot of those games, but they're gonna have a lot of close ones. They got to figure that out. Well, Kyler has to learn how to get the ball to Marvin Harrison. Although he said that's not his job today, I was like, well, what are
Yeah,
you
what was it?
talking?
What?
That's literally your job. Throw the ball to the wide open receiver.
That's a
That's your
dumb
job.
response.
He said, "Oh, it's up to the OC and the coach." No, that's your job. You go through your
You're the
progressions.
quarterback. What are you
But I
talking
will
about?
say, team has a good potential for the future. New coach, new philosophy, everything. But they just got outbeat by Josh Allen. Man, Josh Allen was.
He's a beast, dude.
Yeah.
He might not be any good in the playoffs, kind of like Jim Kelly, but in the regular season, he's a pretty damn good player.
So good, man. He's so good. Yeah.
Bills fans are lucky. I told them, I was like, man, your quarterback does it all. I'm not saying that. I'm not talking bad about Brock. I'm just saying, like, you have a shot if you have Josh Allen every single
Honestly,
week. So.
he can throw the ball. He can run the ball. He could do. Man, this guy, he's the ultimate.
They're SOL. They're SOL. If he gets hurt, that team's not winning a game. I'm sorry.
No, he does everything. He is their running back. He is their quarterback. He is everything. I will say this though, he does make turnovers. But when you're doing everything, you're gonna throw the ball into other people's.
Yeah, he's the type of quarterback the 49ers struggle with. The guy who can move and is mobile and can throw. So
I can't wait for that game. That is a game I want to go to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably not going to go because of my financials. Got some other stuff going on. Unless somebody can buy me a ticket.
We got to start a GoFundMe. Guys, let's get a GoFundMe going for Aaron. Let's get him to the Buffalo Niners game. Come on, man. How much are the tickets? We'll get you there. Let's do it.
A lot. I don't know. I haven't checked. Somebody told him to get him the day before.
Yeah. Oh, my friend went to the game on Monday. They bought the tickets an hour before. He said they were $120. Of course they did. $120.
That's so dangerous, though. You could be sitting in the lot eating the remnants of everybody's barbecued food, like the little pieces that are left on the grill because you have nothing else better to do. But all right, everyone, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you next week. Hopefully we're 2-0, and everybody have a great rest of your evening. Thank you, Raj, once again for doing this. And we'll see you next week. See you later.
Take care. Peace.